My name is Mark Urrutia, and I'm the regional governor for Pi Kappa Phi fraternity, and I cover the Ohio area. And today we're here with Push America, which is a nonprofit organization started by our fraternity about 30 years ago. And our goal is to raise money and awareness for people with disabilities. This program that we're doing today here in Toledo is called the Jounry of Hope, where student members, fraternity members from across the country will take their summer and raise at least $5,000, which gives them the privilege to ride their bicycles from San Francisco to Washington, D.C. And we're hosting them today in Toledo.
The Jounry of Hope this year, we have 3 routes. The first route that started in Seattle, which is a trans route, started June 10th. And then North and South, with that both kick off from San Francisco, started June 14th. Push America is the sole charity for it. They distribute all the money and all the stuff for people with disabilities. The 3 teams combined, cyclists are required to raise at least 5,000. Crew at least 2,500. And altogether, the whole team, about 100 cyclists, raises about $500,000 each year. So when we were actually in Michigan, Lansing, Michigan, just a few days ago, we got these really nice shirts that have the Tour de Michigan on it, and it was just really nice surprise to get a T-shirt out of it, because you don't get a whole lot of things. You get to visit with people and you get to give away your shirts to be like an honorary member, but to get a T-shirt back and say thanks for all you're doing, and it really is a good thing.
Well, it's the 22nd year of the Jounry of Hope, which is one of many different events that Push America puts on in the summer. So yeah, this was started, actually, there was one man named Bruce Rogers was the first guy to do the ride. He started off, was it Portland? He grew up from Portland to Virginia back in '87. And this whole program is developed from then, from his ride and his dream of doing a ride like this for people with disabilities. And you know, it's grown to all of this. It's now 3 routes, over 100 men each summer traveling across the country, and along with the cyclists and the crew members such as myself. At the heart of it, it's all about awareness and meeting with people with disabilities and showing them and the nation that people with disabilities have abilities. And it's not that they are necessarily, I mean, they have a disability but they're not disabled. They can do anything, you know, a technically able-bodied person can do. They just have to find new ways to do it. And we need to meet them in the middle and help them find that. And you know, 10, 20 years back, people with disabilities were really just kind of written off, and people didn't give them the time of day to really, you know, realize their own dreams. And us raising awareness of their struggles and what they need, it's just, that's really the big step that needs to happen right now. People need to be aware that, you know, a lot of times they're mentally right there with any of us. It's just they have physical disabilities, and you know, how frustrating it would be if your mind was just as sound as any of the rest of us and you could not communicate, and people assume that you couldn't think the way we do. For me, the coolest thing we did, in my opinion, was probably in Denver. We played wheelchair rugby, murder ball, with the wheelchair rugby team there in Denver. And 3 of the guys we played with were Paralympic gold medalists from the Beijing Games. The USA won it on the last Paralympic Games, and that was amazing to get to play with those guys. They completely worked us over. They were teasing us and still beat us probably 10-2. It was unbelievable. So that for me, that was the coolest thing. But also our puppet show, Kids on the Block, where we're teaching kids who don't have disabilities what it's like to have a disability, and they get the opportunity to ask questions of the puppets what it's like. And I think that's probably the biggest awareness thing we do, is at that young age they realize that people with disabilities are just like you and me, and with the puppets it's a much less intimidating environment to ask those questions than to actually walk up to someone with a disability. So it really is opening that door to them, to that, you know, the disabled community.
After being on the road for 2.5 months, there's, you know, whether you're a crew member or cyclist, you know, specifically cyclist, you're tense and your muscles are all tight, and you know, I feel like $1 million right now, so, which is not something I could say 2 hours ago. It's different aspects, because you know, you're dealing with people with disabilities and the feeling you get from that, but like in terms of you know, how your body feels, this is right up there. It's definitely a good feeling, especially at this point in the trip. You know, everyone's a little tight, so it definitely makes a huge difference, especially for the cyclists finishing up. I think people underestimate, you know, how much tight muscles make a difference. And just, you know, it's almost like reverting back to the beginning of the journey, where, you know, everyone's not quite as sore and quite as banged up as they are now. And I think that this helps a lot with it. Kind of takes them back a couple weeks or a month or two.